If you want to write a bachelor, master or PhD thesis in LaTeX, I can really recommend the ClassicThesis template here. And if you're a student of IMISE, you can just use our own adapted version where we already pre-filled all the necessary stuff like institute name and so on. So you can just go to IMISE minus ClassicThesis and create a fork here. You see, so just click here on fork and create a fork. So let's call this one here test thesis, right? If you are a pupil of the Wilhelm Ostwald Gymnasium, you can you would not check this one because there's a so-called Bell branch for besondere Lernleistung. But if you're a student, I think you only need the master branch. So let's create this fork here. And it's not strictly necessary to fork it, but it's really useful in case I do some changes in this template and then you make, of course, lots of changes in your thesis, then you can pull in my changes into your thesis later. So now we can go here and I recommend using GitHub CLI, but we can also use all the other methods, but let's use this one here. So we have already authenticated our GitHub CLI and then we go into test thesis. But I mean, of course, you can also just use SSH, for example. Now we go in here into test thesis and with git remote -v, we see this is our origin and this is upstream. So in case I'm doing some changes to the template, you can still get those from the upstream branch, but usually you just work here. And now you can make some changes. So for example, we could go into the front back matter, into the title page, title page text, and there's stuff like where's the author, it's in the config, right? So we go into ClassicThesis minus config tech, and then you can here put in your name. So for example here Konrad and my town is Leipzig, and so on and so on. My awesome thesis. And then you can compile this. I will go into different methods of compiling it later, but here I'm using tectonic. So we have to compile. It takes a while because this is already 48 pages, right? For the first time. So see this PDF and we see here my awesome thesis, okay, from Konrad. Of course you have to adapt all the other stuff like what your thesis type is and so on and so forth. And please don't forget to take out the default here citation, just use something you like or remove it. And now we can go git status. So in my case I did an alias, so it's just git st. So I see we modified something, so we add ClassicThesis config, and we can do git commit -m set author information. So we just need a short commit message that also describes what you have done, and then we do git push. And this is all. And at another computer, for example, if you use two different computers like a desktop at home and a laptop, at the other computer you just do a git pull before working and then you get it in. So now that we have told you how to get the thesis and fork it and how to make changes and commit them, let's go to this to show you some methods to how you can compile the documents. Now, if you're on Linux, I can really recommend the modern tectonic tool. So here on Arch Linux, it's Pacman. On Ubuntu, it might be something like apt-get. So tectonic, we installed this one. And now we just write tectonic thesis tech. And this will automatically download every package that we haven't installed yet. Here, in my case, I already have it in the package cache. We get a really nice log with really insightful warnings, not so verbose, and then we see the document is finished and it's the full 48 pages, everything is there. Instead of the modern tectonic, you can also use the traditional texlive. So using Arch Linux here, where we have pacman -s, we need to install texlive and texlive lang German, because otherwise it won't compile if we have the N German language set with Babel. So we just install everything. If you're a minimalist, you can look into the README, where there are some other meta packages where you don't install everything, but you cannot save much. That's only a few 100 megabytes, so this may take a while here. So let's skip the video until it's finished. So it installed everything, but now it still needs to update some databases and format files, so this can take a few minutes here. Alright, now it's finished. And now we can use the LaTeX MK tool -PDF, because we want the PDF LaTeX, not the super very old normal LaTeX. Dieses tech, and this will automatically run PDF LaTeX behind the scene multiple times if it needs to, if there's like an update to the table of contents or your bibliography, and would also call stuff like bybor or biblatex depending on what you set. And then we can look at it here. xdg open just uses whatever you have installed, and we can take a quick look. So 48 pages is right now the correct amount if everything is there, like the citations. Here you see the example citations, and we can also check that the literature is there. Okay, cool.